A$AP Rocky is facing charges in connection with a in Hollywood. The rapper, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, is being charged with 2 felony counts with a semi-firearm. Unfolded in November of 2021 near Selma and Argyle Avenues. Prosecutors say Mayers pointed at a former friend during an argument and twice. The a graze to his left hand. Mayers is scheduled to be arraigned Wednesday.
Rocky's facing a maximum sentence of 24 years in jail after the rapper's alleged to have got A$AP Rocky with a firearm back in November 2021. Trial for the case is underway, and it's not looking good for him. Back in 2021, issues arose within the team when founding member Josh passed away on October 16th. One of the biggest problems is that Rocky was always the biggest face of the group and had the most money. With that, they'd always look for Rocky to provide and pay for big purchases. The members believed that Rocky would cover Josh's funeral costs and expenses. However, 12 days later, Relly testified that Rocky promised to pay for the funeral and failed to deliver. So on that day, he texts Rocky a message saying, "You're so fake, it's sad. Don't ever forget who introduced you to this life. When I was at my lowest, you looked at me like I was a piece of shit." With Relly getting heated, he talked bad about Rocky to another friend over text.
Relly told his friend that Rocky was a piece of shit and declared, "I'm gonna up." Now it's funny. They showed you a lot of text messages. I didn't see that one.
The two then agreed to meet on November 6th, 2021 in Los Angeles in hopes of talking everything out. 2 other members, A$AP Ills and 12 came to the meeting. This is where Relly claims Rocky pulled out a firearm and said, "I'll take you out right now," before putting it away since people were close by. But rather than calming the situation down, it only escalated further. Relly continued bad-mouthing Rocky by saying how he failed his friends from back home. Other members were struggling and still living in the projects. This ultimately pushed Rocky to pull out the firearm again, and that is when he used it a few times towards Relly, which left Relly with only his knuckles getting grazed by the firearm before running off. Later on, Relly texted Rocky and accused Rocky of trying to take him out, to which Rocky responded, "Stop making stuff up and call the police if I went at you." However, this takes us to Rocky's trial, which is now ongoing, and court started fast as we saw the report. Rocky is charged with 2 counts of affecting someone with a firearm after he aimed at his friend Relly. He turned down a last-minute plea deal to plead guilty to 1 count and serve 180 days, a 7-year suspended sentence plus 3 years probation. If convicted, he faces up to 24 years.
How you feeling going into trial?
So what was the decision to reject the plea deal up there? Do you have any concern about rejecting the plea deal?
Are you going to take a stand?
Although that was a pretty bold move by Rocky to do, considering there's literal video footage of him holding one on his hand the same day. This had many fans wondering why he declined the plea deal, considering he was on camera during the altercation, and it was reported Rocky's defense revealed this week it was a starter prop firearm. Rocky's attorney alleges he has 2 witnesses who can testify that it was a prop firearm also. However, more reasons why Rocky likely declined the plea is because not only do they think they can beat the case, but even if he accepted the plea, it would make him lose all his endorsements. Reports shared that he would lose deals with companies like Gucci, Puma, and the Met Gala if he pled guilty. But most importantly, he wouldn't be able to tour either. One source said they would have him under the thumb for over 8 years, although it's pretty concerning he didn't accept the deal because he can get sentenced for way longer. But to add to the evidence the prosecutors have, this is the moment Rocky aimed at Relly, which happens only minutes after he was caught with the firearm in the first clip. However, the decision to decline the plea deal is making it much worse for Rocky. There's a new report that Rocky's lawyer wasn't aware of, and it's gotten him extremely concerned in the courtroom.
So Rocky's lawyer just said this in court.
So many people said to me this morning, "I told you so, that this was going to happen." And I'm trying to keep my composure. I don't know if I've ever been this upset in a court in my whole career, both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. I have to be honest with you. This is not right. It's not fair to him.
Defense that a prop was used, then they got the jury seated, and then last night or earlier this morning, prosecutors sent Rocky's lawyer a report, and Rocky's lawyer had a meltdown saying, "I'm not going to trial if they're going to be allowed to use this report that they've never shown me before. I need multiple days to get an expert to look at this report and come up with our own conclusions to even understand what this report says. Rocky's lawyer is asking the judge to throw the evidence out and go forward with the trial. The judge might say, no, we're going to pause the trial and you can go get your expert. Or the judge might say, tough luck, trial continues, the report is in, good luck. Let's see what happens.
With Rocky's case still in the jury selection, reports have come out that the pool of jurors they're looking at isn't fair, because a man known as Al Sharpton, who's an advocate for civil rights, shared this. It has been brought to my attention that out of 106 people called to potentially sit as jurors in Rocky's trial in Los Angeles, there are only 4 black people. I have been closely in touch with Rocky's friends, and though I do not know the particulars of the trial, I do know he deserves to be judged fairly by his peers, as is his constitutional right. If Rocky's lawyers decide to run with it and how it goes against his constitutional rights, it could be grounds for a mistrial, which will require the state to select a new group of jurors and start the process over again. However, we then saw a reporter who dug deep into the case take an interview, and she revealed why the Rocky security footage is so bad for him.
I mean, we saw the videos of this. The evidence is pretty stark here. He might have to really work some magic, Joe might, to get an acquittal.
So is there video of Rocky Relly?
Allegedly. It is blurry and far enough away that there's going to be some argument about what you're actually seeing. But yeah, I mean, you can trace the people in the flash. And then in the very beginning, the first footage is problematic for him too. You can clearly see him come at Relly, and there's something in his hand that pretty clearly looks like a...
She even added on with details of his charges and why he was charged with 2 counts.
He's charged with 2 counts of first degree, and one is for pointing the, which is clearly caught on video. And then the second count is for fire, which is not quite as clearly caught on video, but is still on video.
So how much time is he facing?
Could be, it's the same charges as Lane's, except for it's 2 counts instead of 1, but there's no great bodily enhancement. So I think it's the max is the same as Lane's was facing, like 20 years or something, 22, but it'll be more, it'll be less than that. He's not going to get nearly as much time as Lane's because they don't have the great bodily. I mean, in the end, Relly's knuckles were just grazed. So it could be a few years.
Huh.
Yeah.
We even saw DJ Academics give his 2 cents on the Rocky situation.
Now, what might be in A$AP Rocky's favor is that the majority of the witnesses, and there are people who are witnesses, seem to be on A$AP Rocky's side, as opposed to Tory. Even though Tory thought at first they were going to be on the side, by the time it got to trial, they were not.
The future of Rocky's career and life is looking extremely concerning with the evidence that's been shown so far, but hopefully Rocky and his defense team can get him released.